on the first working day of a new year, let us give thanks for all we hold dear, our health, our family, and our friend. Let us release our grudges, our anger, and our pains, for these are nothing but binding chains. Let us live each day in the most loving ways, the God-conscious way. Let us serve all who are in need, regardless of race, color, or nothing but binding chains. Let us keep God. Let us live our own understanding in our hearts and to chant God's name in each day. Let us lead the world from darkness to light, from falsehood to truth, and from wrong to right. Let us remember that we all are one, embracing all, discriminating against none. May this new year be filled with peace, prosperity, and love. May God's blessing shower upon each one of us, our family members, friends and well-wishers, and most importantly, on each one of our beloved students. May the Almighty bestow upon each one of us a bright, healthy, and peaceful new year. Amen. Late last year, Xavier's College of Management and Technology started organizing in-house faculty development program with an idea to help its faculty members broaden the horizon of their knowledge and update themselves to an area beyond their expertise. This also helps them develop critical thinking. After a long break, we are here with another session of in-house faculty development program. Today, Sister Dr. Grace will be conducting an in-house faculty development program on a book authored by Dr. Seema Agarwal titled Beat the Bait. Dr. Sister Grace is an assistant professor in the Department of English in Xavier's College of Management and Technology. And besides this, she is also the coordinator of Internal Quality Assurance Cell of this college. Dr. Grace has done her master's and doctorate in English. She had served as assistant teacher in Prabhat Tara School, Muzaffarpur, Holy Cross Higher Secondary School, Rajipur, and vice principal and hostel in charge in Vocational Training Institute, Lucknow, and as principal Prabhat Tara School, Muzaffarpur. She has presented many research papers and articles in national seminars and also published them in journals of national repute. Over to you, sister.
Very warm good evening. Good afternoon to one and all. Before I start the session, I would like you to turn your right and left, look at the person and give a beautiful smile to him or her and to me also. Okay, that's good. I know you have heard of Alexander the Great. After conquering many places, finally he reached India. There he met yogis. So he asked, when he came to India, he asked, I want to meet some yogis and I wanted to take them to Greece. So his soldiers said, so you can meet the yogis and here you can meet them. So he went to meet yogi. When he reached there, the yogi was sitting casually. respected, but Yogi showed no external respect for Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great said, "You don't know how to behave? Don't you know who I am? I will teach you a lesson you will remember all your life." The yogi responded. He said, "I know who you are." Alexander the Great said, "Who?" "You are a slave of my slave." Alexander the Great said, "What do you mean, slave of your slave?" The yogi said, "Anger is my slave. You are a slave to anger." So, dear friends, today I am here to present a book called Beat the Bait, Inhouse Faculty Development Program, A Closer Look at Anger, written by Seema Agrawal. She was born and brought up in Mumbai, and at present she lives with her husband and 2 sons in Ahmedabad. And he has completed a diploma in interior designing and completed a course in writing from the Writers Bureau. She has been on the editorial board of Ama News, a newsletter of the Ahmedabad Management Association for last 2 years. She does freelance writing and editing occasionally. So now, as I go ahead with my presentation, I would like to ask you a question. Is there anyone here who does not get angry? Can you raise your hand? Is there anyone here who does not get angry? So I am safe. So I am happy that not only me, others also get angry. Okay? So in this book, Seema Agrawal wanted to say how people lose their temper everywhere, not only at home, in working place, and in school, in the college, wherever they are. And the author Seema Agrawal says, anger is our worst enemy. So, excessive anger can lead to various life-threatening diseases. So, this book is the fruit of the author's effort to convey to us a message how anger affects our lives and our very being. Beat the Bait does not deal with major issues like crime because that needs special attention. So Beat the Bait is for people like you and me. People who are strong enough to admit that they get angry. People who are strong enough to acknowledge that they want to do something about their anger. So the author says, not all anger is wrong. For example, if you see a child being abused, or if you see a woman being unjustly treated because of her gender, you have to stand up against it. You have to stand up for life's values. Here, you are raising your voice for a cause. It is not for selfish motive. So, here the anger is good. When you are angry for a cause, speak up for it. Do not have to raise your blood, do not have to make your blood pressure rise for that. If you get angry for a cause, we need to speak. That is true. But if you get angry with yourself and also others often, then you need to ask, maybe you have too many expectations of yourself and of others. That is what you get angry with yourself and also with others. Anger is nothing but a need or demand unfulfilled. That is what the author says. Do not resist anger. Let it come. Let it envelop you. Let it come and accept that. Look at anger like any other emotions. Witness it. Don't get involved. This is what the author says. When you have anger or you face angry or but not get involved in. So the book is divided in 3 parts, dealing with the anatomy of anger, that is what is anger, and the physiology of anger, getting to the roots, and the third session deals with the prophylaxis of anger, that means tips to manage anger. Beat the Bed looks into various aspects of anger, like what anger is, reasons we sometimes give into this emotion, ways to manage but not control it. So now, as already I have mentioned, that this book is the fruit of the author's effort to convey to us how anger affects our life and our well-being. So we will deal with the first session, that is, what is anger? Anger is a silent killer, a violent behavior, a way of meeting your needs, a veritable poison, a tool, and also a negative mental energy. Love or hate, and explosive that we set on ourselves. Anger is an integral part of our life. And the author asks us, are you giving to this killer day by day? So she suggests a test to find out how angry we are. So here, when there are 2 tables, when you feel angry, how do you feel? Whether you feel destructive, mean, rebellious, sarcastic, revengeful, paranoid, resentful, or hostile. If you feel any of this feeling, just have a glance at it, and you can also look in yourself. Do you feel any of this feeling when you go through or when you are faced with anger? Or the second table, do you feel anxious, worthless, victimized, frustrated, depressed, bitter, numb, cranky, and inferior? So if you have picked or if you have noticed more feelings of the first table, that is destructive, mean, rebellious, any of this, then we can say that you are an aggressive personality. You take your anger out on others and hurt them. Not only that, you hurt yourself too. The aggressively angry people will push others off verbally and physically. If you have ticked more of table 2, that is anxious, worthless, victimized, frustrated, all those things, then you can say you are an anger eater. That is, you are letting your anger to destroy you. You run away from showing anger and could be an anger avoider. The anger eaters will push them off with their mental sickness like, leave me alone with my anger and self-pity. I will manage. So, those who are anger eaters will say, leave me alone, I will manage myself. So, both these extremes are not good. Now, that you know how you feel when you are angry, and we must deal with those feelings, whether you feel destructive or anxious. When you are angry, you need to ask one question, why are you angry? Or think about what made you angry. If you can pinpoint the exact incident that made you angry, then anger management becomes easier. The second question that you can ask is, who are you angry at? Angry at yourself, your kids, all men, your spouse, God, women, any one of these. So, first question you need to ask when you are angry, why are you angry? And second one, who are you angry at? And anger usually revolves around and that your anger has an object in the real world, we need to compartmentalize. That means you need to identify and call the child by its name. Whether you are feeling anxious or destructive or whatever feeling you have, you need to identify that and you need to call it by name. So, the next session we will deal with how to get into the roots of anger. Okay? Section 2. First we come to know what is anger. So when you feel angry, you need to ask yourself, why am I angry or whom are you angry at? These questions you need to ask. Section 2. Get into the roots. So a number of things the author has suggested. First thing, finding out the root cause of anger. Anger is very essential. If you want to do anything about managing it, please keep it. That is, I have to conduct an experiment and for that. Thank you. So, finding out the root cause of anger is very essential. If you want to do something or anything about managing it, are you actually angry with someone else and you are showing that anger to somebody else? Usually the children are the cause of it. You can see when you get angry from the college, maybe with your colleagues or principal or anyone, so you go home and you throw that anger on your children because you are not able to express your anger towards the authority or your boss. So here children are the sufferers. So here you need to understand or find out the root cause of anger. Whom am I angry? What is the reason for my anger? The second step to get into the root of anger is stop and ask a question. That what is it that I want from this situation that I am not getting? I am angry, maybe behind, at the back of it, I have some other reason why am I angry. Then you need to ask, will my getting angry help me in attaining my goal? Okay? Here, in order to explain this a bit more better, I read out an example. Like Mr. Sharma was having breakfast with his family. His daughter accidentally dropped her glass of milk and Mr. Sharma's shirt got drenched. He instantly got up and started scolding his daughter. He continued scolding till he went up to change his shirt. Naturally, his daughter started crying and when he came back, he found Mrs. Sharma trying to console her daughter and her to finish her breakfast. He started screaming at his wife, accusing her of having spoiled their daughter and then left the house in a rage. Driving hurriedly, he soon found himself stuck in a traffic and cursed his luck that ill-fated morning. Having reached office and date, he realized that he had forgotten an important file at home. And so, it was that one thing led to another, rendering one of the worst days of his life. As one after the other, misfortune kept befalling him. Doesn't this happen to all of us? It is not that on some particular day, things just keep getting from bad to worse. Getting back to the story, let us see how it would have been had Mr. Sharma responded instead of reacting. What he did here, he reacted instead of responding. If he had just gone up and changed, because he had to do that anyway. If he had not screamed and yelled, he would have been in a better frame of mind for the rest of the day. Because of his hasty reaction, his wife and daughter too, began the day on an unpleasant note. So this is the response to the question which I asked. Will my getting angry help me in attaining my goal? Here, Mr. Sharma got angry with his daughter. Then he could have quietly gone and changed his shirt. By all means, he had to do that. But what has happened? He reacted instead of responding to the situation. The third step to get to the root of anger is you need to ask yourself, are you a perfectionist? Perfectionism leads to major problems not only for us but to others too. Everyone thinks that they are always right, and that is the misconception that is the root of all problems and of negative emotions. You may be right from your viewpoint, but not necessarily from that of others. Others may have a different set of priorities. For example, you have to go for a party. The party is at 8 o'clock. So, you got ready by 7:45 and you are waiting for your spouse. And he or she is not ready. So, you have to wait for longer time, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Now, analytically, you are the punctual kind and wish to reach on time. But that does not mean that your spouse will think so. Being a quarter of an hour late to a party is not really the end of the world. Your reaction at that time will determine how your evenings will go. If you lose your cool, it will only flare you up a senseless argument and ruin your evening. If you keep your cool and think about whether the issue at hand is really so important and worth fighting over, you will realize that it isn't. The end result will be a good and entertaining evening for you both. So the next step, that is to getting to the root of anger, is feeling of extreme superiority or inferiority. A superiority or inferiority complex could be a cause of uncontrolled anger. A person with a superiority complex could be used to people serving him, obeying him, praising him to the extent that he may have a rather highly bloated ego. So, when such an individual should find someone not complying with every whim or thought, he most certainly will lose his cool. People of this sort can just not tolerate opposition of any kind. In this case, the individual will hurt him or her and also others also. An individual with an extreme inferiority complex may not always speak up about his wishes and needs, resulting in non-fulfillment of those needs. This could lead to a very frustrating situation and will only further aggravate his complex. Neither of these situations is a normal or desirable one. The next step to get into the root of anger is lacking self-confidence or lack of self-confidence. Lack of self-esteem or self-confidence is another reason why we get angry. The one way to get out of this is to get hold of on yourself, take responsibility for your life. Do the things you like, don't always worry about what people want or their likes or dislikes. So what you feel convinced, what you feel that is okay, you do. don't listen to others every time according to their whims and interests, then we will be never happy and we will be getting angry and also we lack self-confidence there. So one of the important reasons for getting angry is asking ourselves, are you a consistent planner? Maybe the cultural committee is a real example for that. We plan so many things, but at the last moment we need to make a lot of changes here. So what I want to ask, are you good with timetables, lists, graphs, charts, or I mean planning in general? Do you have problems when things don't go according to your plan? Planning is good, but you should be ready to make slight alteration and minor adjustments if required at or till the last moment. No amount of planning ensures the job properly. Last moment hitches are a part and parcel of life. Always we listen to this phrase from other principles when we have to make a lot of changes the last moment. So the last one the author suggests is pressure. That means family pressure, work pressure, all those play a part in the building up of anger. When we feel we are not up to people's expectations, our own goals or deadliness or are not up to the mark or in any way, we tend to lose our cool. Work pressure needs to be tackled differently. How we can tackle our work pressure? You need to practice some time management first of all. Then get your priorities right. Make a list of important things to be done. Do them in that very order. Finishing off all your tasks one by one. You will be calmer, more organized and will gain a better outlook of life. So we have already discussed two things. That is the first section, what is anger, and the second one, getting to the roots. And the third session deals with the how to manage anger or tips to manage anger. The first one, a tortoise shell. Going to a shell will not make the problem go away. When something happens, we take a decision or we say to ourselves, some of us have the habit of ignoring that person with whom we are angry. So we don't feel like talking to him or her, but is this a solution? Is it an advisable thing to avoid that person? With adults, it is different. If you think of the children, kids, they get angry and within no time they patch up. But whereas we adults, we don't want to talk, we don't want to look at that person, so we try to avoid. So this is not fitting for us as adults. We need to manage how to respond to the anger, not reacting to it. So fights, arguments and debates are part of living in coexistence. Behaving as though it never happened or as though it is the end of the world are extreme ways of dealing with strife. Imagine the second step, imagine yourself to be other. This will help us to manage our anger. Whatsoever you are angry with, imagine yourself in there. So try to get into the other person's shoes. If I am in that person's place, how will I respond or react? So imagine yourself to be the other person's shoes. So it is said, and I like to quote here, Cato, an angry man opens his mouth and shuts up his eyes. I repeat, an angry man opens his mouth and shuts up his eyes. I see and I feel it is very true. And the third point to manage anger is to keep calm. So today I have my own example. When I went to my office, the computer was not functioning and there are so many things. So and I had decided that I am not going to get angry today. Or if it happens, I will keep quiet. So this is what I have done, and I feel that. And then Deepika ma'am was telling, sister, you can give this one as the example for today's PPT. So I feel that it is really what happened to me today, and it is I just kept quiet. So if someone is angry, if someone is screaming at you, if someone is being unreasonable, you keep calm. If you stoop down to their level of anger at that moment, it will blow the situation out of proportion. If that time I can give another example for it. Otherwise I continue. Okay. The next one, keep channels of communication open. That already I hope everyone understands. When we are angry with someone, let us not build big walls. Let us open the channels and we will try to communicate with the persons, not making or building big walls around us. And the next one, understanding. For any kind of healing to take place, understanding of the problem is most essential. The most important thing to understand is that we cannot expect someone else to be like us. They will not stand, they will not and cannot, even if they want to. Some differences will be inevitably there. So understanding comes after a deep reflection that none of us are perfect. Admission of your not being perfect will help you understand others' mistake better. So understanding comes after deep introspection and reflection. So after understanding comes the acceptance. Once we have understood the differences inherent in human nature, the next step will be to accept. Accept what is not under our control. Accept what we cannot change. Accept circumstances that we cannot get out of. Accept relations we cannot avoid. Accept people we cannot do without. Accept people as they are. Accept people for they cannot change. Accept the fact that we can only change ourselves. We can only change our responses to a particular situation. I cannot change the other person, but I can change myself. So, best thing, try to change oneself. The last point I would like to discuss here is forgiveness. If you are going with the flow, you now come to forgiveness. Forgiveness is another important factor that contributes to your own peace of mind. You do not have to forgive someone because they deserve it. You have to do it because you deserve it, because you need peace of mind. Because again here I am selfish. I am forgiving the other person because I need to have peace of mind. I think that okay, I am doing something favor for him or her. No, it is for my own selfish motive that I forgive so that I can have peace of mind. So your anger may not be affecting the others as badly it is affecting you. Anger is a child, or anger you need to call it by name and you need to accept this is what I am. So this is what all I want to say. I just want to repeat whatever I have said, summarize. What is anger we have discussed, and the cause, how to get into the roots, and the last one, how to manage anger. This is what Seema Agarwal has written in her book. So I like to give a critique of the book. Okay? The author Seema seems to be very loving with her topic, anger. She has dealt with this angry topic with such a cool approach. Beat the page doesn't address major issues like crime because it needs more attention because it needs counseling and it has to be tackled differently. So she deals with anger that we get, people like you and me, ordinary anger we call it. Here the book touches on the questions like what is anger, why do we get anger, tips and techniques to handle anger or manage anger. But it does not explain the psychological aspect. There are several internal changes that take place in one's body when one is angry. So the psychological aspect is not touched in this book. So to conclude, I need one volunteer here to do a some short experiment. If anyone is willing, please raise your hand. Any one person. Two of them. Let me call someone, sir. Please, can you come in here? Okay. Please come in. So here, I have a glass of water. So I would like you to hold this water in your hand. Will you please?
Water glass.
Water in a glass container. Okay? So now I would like you to stretch out your hand and hold it. Stretch out your hand, please. How long will you be able to hold this way?
3 years.
3 hours? Will you be able to? Will you? Okay. What happens if you hold after that? After an hour, what will happen to you?
This will start paining.
Okay.
Maybe I'll drink the water if I'm thirsty by that time.
Okay. Anything more?
I'll throw it on someone.
Okay. Okay. This is what I want. Okay. Thank you so much. So here, this is what happens with anger. When we are angry with someone, we can hold on for some time. In the long run, it will affect our system, our body, and we will start to react. So this is what the message what I want to leave with you. Thank you so much. This is the message.
Thank you, sister, for this wonderful and enriching presentation. I never realized that anger can be so dangerous. So, I now request you to hear 2 questions. What is anger? Can any good come out of anger? Is it positive to or negative emotion? How can we get into the roots of anger? So one by one we'll take up the questions. So I request you to please raise your hand. Yeah. Come down, please.
Anger, there is a difference
Request
between.
you to come here.
There is a difference between anger and getting angry. So we can conserve the energy of this anger and we can turn it out into a positive action. Suppose somebody says, oh, what you have done, something like that, suppose. And then it comes, I am very angry, okay, the person scolded me, you have not received good marks. So that anger, if I conserve with me, that energy, which I can derive with this anger, and I can convert it into a positive energy by holding it, okay, I have got less marks, I will work hard, and I will show it to him or her that I can get good marks. So working hard and turning this energy of anger into positive action which may be good for me.
Yes, ma'am.
We have heard in this discussion and presentation, in the beginning there was something called, I'm not sure, is a positive aspect of anger, good anger. As the previous speaker has just said, that being angry is different in a way from the anger one feels. And so in this case, it is neither positive or negative. It is an emotion that one would probably have to learn how to deal with. And of course, we can get into the roots of anger by introspection. And of course, there are a lot of other things involved. That's what I want to say. As Sister has said, that this doesn't mean this presentation or this book doesn't deal with the deeper aspects of it. But this is something, there are various ways meditation and other things which could be done. Thank you so much.
Others, you.
Good afternoon to one and all. And thank you, Sister, for the wonderful presentation. And whether this is a positive or negative emotion is a debatable issue. As I understand, it is a positive emotion. I can give you one example of a knife. If a doctor uses a knife, it is for the well-being of the other person. He does an operation so that the person may get well. That same knife can be used to destroy somebody. You can kill a person using a knife. So it depends on how you take it. It can be used for good as well as it can be used for distraction. So it's a debatable issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. So, like that, what Father you just said. We have two great persons of India. One is Mahatma Gandhi. He was angry when he was put out of the train. So he used that anger to positively and led a completely revolutionary movement and get India free. Second is J.R.D. Patna. When he was not allowed to enter into a 5-star hotel, he came back to India and built an empire. A 5-star hotel Taj was built in response to that anger. So feeling angry is not negative, but what you do with that anger. That knife example is perfect example. Some more persons? Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, again, this is dividing everyone. This is to add more to anger being a positive. I don't know if it's a positive or a negative emotion, but it's a very, very human emotion. And it is very natural. I read Sangha, Shirdi Sangha. And somebody had asked him a question that how we get angry, is that good, is that bad? In his life, about his life and everything all that he has done, there are many instances when he has shown anger. He has been angry, he has shouted at people, he has even he has even shown violence in anger. When we get angry in class, that entire body language becomes quite violent and people get scared of us. I know, I scare people. So he has shown that violence in his body language when he's dealing with certain people. And yet he's a saint, he's a guru, we follow and we follow his teachings, we believe in his teachings. So what I have seen of his anger is that it is always directed towards people and events which hurt humanity. His anger is not motivated by ego and self. If someone abuses me, I get angry, that is negative anger. But if someone abuses someone else, then I get angry, that I think is positive anger. So when anger is motivated because of ego and yourself, then that is something which should be avoided.
Most often we say, you made me angry. I got angry because you said something. If you remember for Patna's session with us, I get angry because there's something wrong with my programming. Something wrong here. My thoughts, whatever I think, is specifically in terms of, could be in terms of superiority complex, inferiority complex, could be because of low self-image, and many other reasons. Whatever be the reasons, but I think one of the reasons, there are things I hold on to is, could be many reasons, but expression of anger in itself is not acceptable. Anyway, if it is a prophetic anger, as in the case of Mahatma Gandhi and Jesus Christ, but I don't think I belong to that group at all. I am at the very, very ordinary level where I am affected by different expectations and so on. Is that what we got here? This morning I got angry with him. Just because I said, but I say sorry for expressing my anger, that's my weakness. I say sorry for that. I ask forgiveness for that. There is no justification on that. Why I got angry, that could have been avoided. I don't think there is any justification possible. Expressing anger is not sane, not civil, right? That's not helping us in terms of the relationship and so on, understanding and so on. However, as humans, we do because of certain expectations. Patience. How many times can you be patient? Jesus will say, how many times can you forgive? No end. 7 to 7 times, many times. But we are human beings. So I hold on to this. Okay, I do get angry. I express my anger, but expressing anger to someone is wrong. Therefore, I need to ask pardon and get on with life.
I guess other also to chip in.
I have a question to sister. It's a very relatable question because you talked about spouses taking so much time to get ready. Now in my case it happens every time, to be very honest. Every time there is a party, my wife, she takes 2 hours, more than 2 hours. She leaves both the kids and then I have to take care of them and she gets ready. I don't know what all she does. So and every time this happens. Now, since you are telling how to manage it, what way I found out, I found out 2 ways. One, that I started telling her that we'll go very early. So she gets ready by 6 p.m. only. So by 6, 7:30, by 8 she is ready. Number 2, I do not get ready. So I say when you get ready, then after that I'll go to room and change and do everything. So these 2 things I applied. Now anything from your suggestion, because this will happen again, I know.
Almost all married men.
Why about only men? Women you are speaking, what about men? Yes, sometimes women are ready and men are not ready. So what will you do that time?
You suggest something different.
That I think Krishna is following. He is not getting married because he is scared of this.
Usually, anger, everyone gets angry. It is only determined by who is at the receiving end. At times, one of the spouses will be at the receiving end, and at the other time, you are on the other side. That the same relation happens between the boss and the employee also. The difference is the boss can get angry, the employees cannot.
Yes, Joseph. Please come.
Newspaper today said,
Please come.
Newspaper today said, this is related to what Samasar shared, that there is a big difference between Maggie and Shahi Paneer. Maggie can get ready in 2 minutes. Not the.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
I have one question for sister.
Please, please.
It's a question.
I would say share. She is the resource person to explain the book.
No, but that is something because she's read the book, so maybe there is something that she can explain. There is one point how to manage anger. In that, the fourth point was keep the communication channel open. Sister, believe me, that's very difficult. When you are angry, keeping the communication channel open, how do we do that? And when you are angry, you can say something untoward that you will regret later. I mean, that communication is the first thing that is destroyed when you are angry. So then, how do we do that?
I gave the example of kids. So I have kids, children. And I have children. They fight among themselves. After a few seconds, they come together.
Children are very innocent.
So
We
that
are
is the
very
point.
innocent. We carry a lot of baggage. So we can't be like children.
So we are adults, but we know to not react. If you are keeping away from that person, I got angry with you, so I keep away from you. That is a reacting to that situation. I need to respond. How to respond? Okay, it has happened, but I will continue my point. It is very difficult. I know it, but we can try.
The simple thing is, can I say when I tomorrow I see you, I'm angry. Can I say good morning to you? So I'm like, otherwise, I will not say good morning. So that will be open the channel.
Okay. Now I take the second question. As educators, how can we help ourselves and our students to manage anger? What are the tips to manage anger? The second question is very applicable to us, relatable to us. Madam, I request you to respond to this question. Since every morning you have to tell the students who are coming late, not following the dress code uniform, so
Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. I think most of the tips have already been discussed by Sister. There was a topic that said how to manage anger. But yes, in my personal life also, I've come across situations where I'll give you the example of my husband himself. Both of us, we always have a discussion or a debate kind of a thing on a particular topic. Because when I'm not cool, he is out cool. I believe in doing things the moment. Right now, I need to do this. And he says, ho jayega. Hoga na, we got time. Opposite characters. Now, I believe in everything has to be arranged. The towel has to be kept over here, the shoes on the shoes rack and everything. And he is into that kind of a person, completely messed up. The towels will be that side, shoes will be that side. So we have debates and discussions based on that. But we have decided, however angry we are not going to carry that for one more day. Means the problem has to be sorted out within that day. And we don't communicate as a kabhi nahi hota. And the best part is we don't just, like for example, when we are sleeping, one person sleeps this side and another person sleeps that side. So that is the biggest example when you say you are not coordinating or communicating with one another. We don't carry problems, we don't carry this fight to the next day. So that can be one problem, one solution to this particular thing, but it is difficult, yes. But when we are in a relationship or when we are into a relationship, it's our responsibility to ensure that relationship sustains. I also realize that I am the one who needs to carry this, and my husband also realizes that this has to be carried. So the moment that factor comes into our mind, we have to continue and we have to build this relationship. So it goes on and we are ready to adjust, we are ready to talk, we are ready to compromise. Certain adjustments I have made, certain adjustments he has made. So the best part can be when we are talking with our students, when we are communicating with one another, and they are students, we are teachers, they are into a stage where we have already crossed that particular stage. So we need to understand their thought, and based on that, we need to put ourselves into their shoes. That is what Sister Xavier said. And based on that, we can somehow control
not control, but manage this. That's my approach. Thank you, sir.
Start giving yellow card to them.
To manage, I tried in my class. You do the least expecting thing when you are angry. Okay, that's like BBA third years, they are making 2-3 students noise and they would not listen, so I send them out. They would not go. And I said, instead of sitting here and talking, you go to canteen and you talk there, there's no problem. Then they said, हम लोग कैंटीन चले जाएंगे, हमको समोसा दे दीजिए. I said, जाने का. Then they went there. And after some time, the canteen lady is calling me. Other 3 students are here, they say, you go ask the normal thing is not to give. I said, you give, please give the money way, I said. Okay, so after that, next class they came. They were completely different because they never expected you will get a samosa as a punishment. Okay, they are different. So it can happen. When you are angry, the immediate response is to away, shout, or things like that. Instead, you can do what is least expected. You can crack a joke maybe, or you can take a walk with the person. You try this one, simple one, but whole thing gets changed and you are no more the same in the angry mood. It is applicable to oneself, among ourselves, with the students, and I found this is more practical and very useful. Thank you.
Basically, teaching students, more than that, how we teach ourselves first. Because, we grow with our behavior, we grow up with our personality, and then we accommodate ourselves with the situation that we are in. So it takes some time to understand the student and understand yourself also in a particular profession. And as you grow, you understand how to deal with them. I'll give you one example. The mentoring thing has not been a good experience for many, and I'm not an exception. So to begin with, it was very difficult, particularly in a class where you do not have that particular structure. Everyone is allowed to speak as one wants. Very difficult. You get angry, and how will you control their anger? As you grow, in the coming times, year by year, now when I go to the class, the students say, okay, sir, you talk whatever you want, okay, and I am ready to listen to you. And do not show me anything like video or anything. This is the best thing is to talk to you. There's no anger. It is a fun. And you understand how important your student becomes for you and how important you become for your students. Okay, so this is really understanding each other. I'll give you one more example. The example that Mala ma'am gave. I frequently visit kitchen and enjoy being there. And my wife also obviously uses that same kitchen. Now when my wife uses kitchen, you will see, once she comes out of the kitchen, you will see the whole thing is dirty. The utensils are dirty, the slab is dirty, everything. Now that becomes quite unmanageable to me. But my way is, pick one thing, use it, put it in the same place. Okay, when by the time you use your kitchen, you keep cleaning. By the time you finish the cooking, the kitchen is also clean. Now I expect the same thing from my wife also. And see the obliges doing that. We compromise. Okay, this is your way, this is my way. Okay, gradually she changed a bit. I am there. Okay, things are going well.
Thank you everyone for speaking and having a fruitful discussion. Now we have among us an observer, Father Abraham Tumana S. Father is a veteran Jesuit of Patna province, residing now in Xavier in XK campus. Father was a provincial of Patna province since 1977 to 82 for 5 years. And I am told by Kalpaman, you are the rector also of this institution. So Father, I welcome you and I request you to give your comments on what we have discussed.
very happy about the presentation. Now, taking off from where she left off, the points she made are important. Aggressive, anger, are you aggressive or are you victim? Both cases, you are hooked, you are unfree. And therefore, you have to get into yourself. Sister explained it very briefly in this short presentation. But you have to know, are you aggressive or are you a victim? If you are aggressive, you are still controlled by anger. If you are a victim, you are controlled by anger. Anger is a fight or flight reaction. In the good old days, when our parents were living in the forest, the adrenaline that came into the system helped us to fight the wild animal or to run away. And I had experience of that myself in Hazaribagh. When a bear came to attack, most of them ran away. I couldn't. I stood there, bear 3 feet in front of me. I froze, and that was the best thing happened. Then behind the bear was a big precipice, so when it moved 1 foot, it fell down. So fight or flight is the basic thing, aggression or manage the anger meaningfully. So anger energy comes and the body gives you warning. Adrenaline comes into the system and you feel the tightness, some feel it at the diaphragm, some on the head, some on the face, different parts of the body. Once you connect your body and the anger, then you know you get warning well ahead of time before the anger emotion comes up. So in a very summary way, she has presented to us how to deal with anger and not reacting but responding. And the responding part requires awareness. Responding part requires awareness. So the body gives you a signal. So you respond or you react. Then the example of Alexander and the yogi responded because he was aware. Alexander was not. So basic, the contribution of India to managing emotion is awareness. So you can go to any yoga asana and get it, but we all can cultivate awareness. So as soon as the body gets tense, signal is given, you are in a fight or flight mood. You want to fight or flight, or you want to deal with the situation easily. So the tips to manage anger was very nicely presented and very good summary and very helpful for everyday life. At the end, she said forgiveness. That is an important part. When you do not forgive, basically what happens is you are carrying the other with you wherever you go. You are chained. A good example is 2 prisoners from German war, 2 Belgians who were prisoners of war. And when war was ended and they were coming out, they happened to meet each other in the train. So one asked the other, what do you think of the Germans? He said, I hate them. Then the other said, you are still in prison. War is over, Germans have been defeated, but you are carrying Germans inside. I hate them. The other one said, I love them. They did many bad things, but I am not their prisoner. I am free. So whenever your anger is kept inside, you are a prisoner. And Sister presented forgiveness. And forgiveness means I recognize the person did wrong and I am the victim of it, but I am not going to allow that to control me. So very good presentation, thank you very much. And as a last tip, I can give something, beyond the presentation. When you feel angry, there are certain acute pressure points in your system. The 5 meridians of both sides corresponding to 5 fingers. Those are the energy meridians. So under the eye is stomach meridian. So when you feel angry, you go quietly out and just tap a few times, your anger evaporates. And this is the heart, small intestine meridian point. You tap here, that you can sit in your chair and you are not at all happy with the lecture, you tap and don't let the anger control you. And this is the heart meridian point, so small intestine heart. See, these 3 will help you to remove physically the cause of anger. The other is, you will have your own body signal. Each time you feel anger, just relax and look back. Where do I feel physical tension? And that will give you advance warning. Adrenaline is getting into the system for fight or flight. So when you have that signal, then you say, okay, I'm getting angry. Let me breathe in and breathe out, relax. So I wish you a very purposeful new year. Don't get rid of anger. Use it for building yourself up and building other people. Anger is a goal-oriented situation. Therefore, you listen to your inside. What question are you asking? Why are people doing this? Why don't they do this? Or are you asking, what do I want? How do I get it? Depending on what the question is, either you become controlled by anger or you use the anger. When I ask what do I want, how do I get it, then I am taking charge of my anger energy to lead me to my greater effectiveness. Thank you very much for the invitation.
By the way, we got the book from Father Abel. It is his collection. And Father was also the director of Atma Darshan for quite a few years. How many years? 13 years. And now also he is involved in giving renewal programs, retreats, and so on. But he himself is an example for all of us that we can go into wholeness. When he was a provincial, I was a novice here in this very building. Novice means one of the beginner. And I still remember shivering when I went to him first, because he was very scared. And then you can see the last 31 years I have been going to him as my, we call it spiritual father, spiritual guide, mentor. And you can see the change in him. So I hope I also will go into more wholeness and holiness. And so thank you very much on behalf of the college, and thank you for coming.
Father was also our resource person for the first faculty development program that we had.
So now we come to the end of this faculty development program. So, good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Rakesh Kumar Pathak, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Xavier College of Management and Technology. Feel honored and privileged to propose the vote of thanks to this faculty development program. I thank God, our God Almighty, for keeping us safe and healthy during this period of Corona pandemic. I thank Father Patna, the principal of our college, and entire college management for encouraging us and allowing us to host academic program of this sort. I express my deep sense of gratitude to the resource person of this activity, the observer for this activity, Father Abraham Subhanan S.J., for his gracious presence and enriching us with his sharing. I thank the resource person of this activity, Sister Dr. Grace S.C., for her beautiful and awakening presentation. Sister, we did not realize ever that anger can be so harmful to us. I thank Dr. C.S. Mala Kumari Upadhyaya, the Dean Academics of this college, for meticulously planning and executing this program. I thank Mukesh sir and Piyush sir for their technical support. I also thank BMC department, especially Manoj sir, for covering this, and Vikas sir for handling this photography, live streaming and other technical things related to this program. I thank Alex sir for making necessary arrangement in the conference room and for the arrangement of tea and refreshment we'll be getting after this program ends. Last but not the least, I thank each one of you for your active participation and your savings. Thank you. Jai Bharat, Jai Xavier. You'll be receiving a link of Google form. Please fill the Google form within half an hour because after that link will not be empty. Thank you.
We are very enthused with the graph. The mathematics and all those who came and shared, and then the father also distinguished this year. The acting is for Sebastian Canada, okay? Acting better. For acting is not there. And Fajr Purikar is our community member and Hindu